Like this video to support. Join our YouTube family now and never miss out on epic content, entertainment, and surprises. Hit that subscribe button. Let's start. Spoiler alert.
The movie begins with Mac Mallard reading a bedtime tale to his children, Dax and Gwen. He tries to intimidate them into not leaving their pond for fear of encountering large predators who could injure or kill them. Gwen becomes terrified, but Mac's wife, their mother Pam, chastises him for attempting to terrify their children. Mac defends himself, claiming that having these worries will keep them safe. The next day, as the Mallards relax by the pond, another flock of ducks arrives on their trip. Dax approaches a girl approximately his age named Kim, and he seems fascinated with her. Kim adds that she and her family are heading to Jamaica to migrate, and she invites Dax and his family to join them. Mac enters and behaves harshly towards the other ducks, claiming that he and his family are perfectly well there. The other ducks leave and Pam yells at Mac for how he acted, and she believes the family is missing out on life because he is terrified. Mac subsequently locates the family's Uncle Dan, who has strayed from his nest. He overheard the family's earlier debate and agrees with Mac, claiming that travel is needless. This makes Mac realize that if he continues to live this way, he would end up like Uncle Dan. So he wakes up the family and decides to fly to Jamaica, much to their joy. When Uncle Dan declines to join, Gwen uses her cute face to persuade him, which works. The Mallards take off from the pond for the first time, but they notice that the other birds are flying in the opposite way. They wind up in a storm and seek refuge before being discovered by a heron named Erin. Despite her creepiness, she offers the Mallards a place to stay the night, along with her husband Harry. After the herons go to sleep, the family tries to flee, but Erin apprehends them and attempts to stop them. The Mallards believe she's going to devour them, but a big fish emerges and attempts to swallow Dax and Gwen whole before Erin saves them. Mac and Pam express gratitude and stay the rest of the night. The Mallards wish the herons farewell and proceed on their voyage. Dax flies them to the heavens, where they frolic in the clouds before arriving in New York City. Uncle Dan gets separated from them and ends up in Central Park. He discovers a sandwich and attempts to eat it, but is challenged by a flock of pigeons. Mac names the pigeons trashy vermin when the rest of the Mallards arrive, which offends them all. Their leader, a pigeon with one poor talon named Chump, arrives to confront Mac, but Pam intervenes and arranges for the pigeons and Uncle Dan to share the sandwich. The family informs Chump of their plight, and she says she knows a bird that can fly them to Jamaica. Chump takes the Mallards to a restaurant where they meet Delroy, a parrot who was born and raised in Jamaica before being taken from his family and kept as a trophy pet. This is also when the family discovers that ducks like them are cooked and served as meal. When the Mallards volunteer to break him out, Delroy explains that the key to his cage is always on the chef's person. Mac and Pam snuck into the kitchen. They end up raising a ruckus, which enrages the chef and forces him to pursue them. Mac and Pam wind up on the dance floor just as the crowd begins to assemble for salsa night. They end up dancing their way out of the hubbub before returning to the room. Mac mistakenly swallows the key before he can liberate Delroy, and the chef catches up with them. In the midst of the turmoil, Mac regurgitates the key, allowing Delroy to escape before the other birds. The Mallards bid their goodbyes to Chump and accompany Delroy on his return to Jamaica. Gwen then complains that she needs to poop but is too ashamed to do it in the sky. This causes the family to land, and they end up finding what appears to be a duck refuge, along with a yoga instructor named Gugu. The Mallards then enjoy themselves as if they were in a water park, but Dax discovers seconds later that the chef is on his way to gather the other ducks, as the location is actually a duck farm. Dax is spotted, and the chef damages his wings. He rushes to tell everyone else, and all of the ducks fly away. The ducks hide at night, but the chef locates them with his chopper. He catches all the birds save Dax and Gwen in his net, and Dax's wings are too weak to fly. The two watch as their parents are hauled away, but Dax gets an idea from Delroy's molted feathers. Pam laments their situation on the helicopter, saying Mac was correct in staying at the pond, but he encourages her not to quit up. Because Chef has imprisoned them in the same cage, they band together to walk out and try to release Uncle Dan, Delroy, and the other ducks, but Chef apprehends them again. The other birds retaliate, pelting Chef with vegetables until he accidentally strikes the bottom hatch, causing him, Mac, and Pam to fall. Chef is caught in the net, but Mac and Pam keep falling until Dax and Gwen arrive, with Dax using Delroy's feathers to help him fly. They release their parents and hug, while Uncle Dan and Delroy free themselves and all of the other ducks. The flock travels to Jamaica after noticing the sparkling ocean and eventually arrives on the island. Dax reunites with Kim, and Mac thanks Pam for assisting him in getting the family out for once. The birds then hold a dancing party. When spring arrives, the Mallards discover that a troop of penguins has appeared and requires assistance returning to the South Pole. They subsequently embarked on yet another family adventure.
Please make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to our channel. Check out the other videos if you watched this video all the way through. Cheers.